Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Well, this is probably not going to be a boys and girls episode.
No.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave it at that.
Giggle, giggle, giggle. Sorry,
welcome to the Sean and Sax show. Welcome to the podcast. This episode is brought to you by us. We don't have sponsors yet.
We don't have any sponsors yet. But it's also brought to in energy from our audience because it's the questions.
This is brought to you by you guys.
Yes.
Guys,
thank you.
Welcome to the show. So a couple 3 days ago, a week ago, when was it that you posted
A short
this?
amount of time ago.
A little bit ago, Saxony did an Instagram post a story asking about sex and saying, what questions do you have for us about sex?
Yeah.
And you said, what questions do you have for Sean about sex? And then what questions do you have for Saxony about sex?
Yep.
Now, I have to preface this. I haven't looked at any of these questions yet. So how are we going to do this? We are doing a sex episode. This is probably the first of many, maybe, depending on how this one fucking shakes out. But you have all of the questions. I haven't looked at them. Do I need to look at some to ask you? Did you get guys and girls questions, or do you have all of them
I have all of them. I also sent them to you. But
are the ones that you sent to me the ones that I need to ask you?
The first ones are questions for you. The second section I sent you were for questions for me.
You didn't circle any of these. Are we just gonna? And by the way,
it'd be more fun to roll.
I do need to preface this too. If you did see the post that Saxony put up, or the story about the show for today, she did a fairly great picture.
Looks like we have no
scantily
pants
clad. It looks like we're naked. I actually am wearing a Speedo behind this.
I'm sorry you guys missed the Speedo.
Yeah. Anyways,
I
this
blocked
is
it out.
this is an interesting thing. So, babe, let's talk about sex.
Let's talk.
I'm excited by this because you did get a lot of questions.
So many.
And I think it'd be good to talk about some of these things.
I think it'd be great.
Even though I don't know what we're talking about.
I'm laughing because there's one I just want to start with. But
okay. Do we just want to dive in? Let's just dive in, babe.
Let's just roll with it.
Okay.
All right, love. I'll just start off we'll start off a little PG.
You remember we started talking about sex last episode and you got a little blush?
I know. I already told the guys. I was like, I just giggle and it's just funny.
Do you need
for
a couple
me.
shots of whiskey or something?
It's not
to get
that.
going?
It's that I don't have a filter, so I want.
You had a filter last time. You were a little bit nervous.
I put the
Bryce,
filter.
was she nervous? She
put
was
the
kind of
filter
nervous.
on.
Once I started talking about butt plugs and whatever else.
I am not shy
date
about
night
talking
the other
about
night,
butt plugs.
You got a little shy.
Okay.
Let's see
We'll
how you
see
do
how
today,
it goes.
baby.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay, Sean, here's your first question.
All right.
Thoughts on semen facials?
See, that's really a question?
Yeah.
Dude.
I had to start with it. It cracked me up.
Like, assuming facial, let's just call sex what it is. Like, there are many, many, many ways that a man can freaking bust a nut, as we say in the hood. And if that's on your face, on your arm, on your leg, on the wall, whatever, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I've never had you ask me, hey, will you do this to me? And I've never had the desire to be like, hey, babe, come here, let me freaking bust a nut in your face. So it's not necessarily on my fetish list. I don't think that it's on your fetish list. But if that's on somebody's fetish list, bust away.
I agree. If it floats your boat and it turns you on.
And we should preface this too. There's no politically correct terminology for any of this shit, right? I could say ejaculate or fuck all that stuff. We're talking like we talk at home with the cigars and the whole deal. So if this is offensive to you or you're looking for some politically correct Dr. Phil sex show, you got the wrong motherfuckers. Carry on. You probably learn more from us though than you will anybody else.
Correct.
Not on my to-do list, not on a thing. If that ever becomes a thing for you, let me know and I'd be happy to oblige.
Okay.
Next
if
question.
it helps stimulate collagen, I'm down.
What?
A facial. If it actually is good for,
Have you done research on this?
I have not, but I'm saying if that's a thing, I would definitely put it on the list.
We should look it up.
We should.
We should look it up.
I think we should. Maybe maybe this person's going to do us a favor.
We could start products with this. That would be odd selling that though.
Sean Whalen Semen Facials.
Jesus Christ.
Coming to a Sephora near you.
Fuck. Hey, dude, if they're interested and the people want to buy it, in fact, leave us a comment or a note. Let us know if this is a product that you are interested in.
Oh, my God.
And we'll have a conversation with some distribution companies.
Okay. I have a question.
This is sliding down real quickly as we go.
This is epic.
What?
I'm already laughing.
Hang on. Bryce looked this up.
Semen does include nutrients that can be beneficial for the skin.
Quote, who's
Okay.
that from? We need a quote.
Medical News Today.
Medical News Today says that semen does include what? Nutrients that are beneficial for the skin.
Does it have to be fresh, or can we like bottle this and keep it?
Babe.
These are important
You're
details.
way overthinking this.
That's
okay?
what I do. I'm a woman.
Jesus Christ. Well, apparently the medical research is in, and busting a nut in your face is good for you. So,
Okay, well, date nights on Friday.
Let me know.
We'll give it a try.
done. Next question.
Oh my gosh, my stomach. Okay, this is a great ab workout. Sean.
Yes.
Would you be upset if I masturbated without you?
No, not at all. You do.
I know.
Why would I be upset?
I don't know. Apparently,
Would you be
this
upset
person...
if I jerked off without you?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Come on, we got these. Get us to some juicy ones, babe. This is like elementary level shit. If you're upset by your partner jerking off you, have
of
a
the
problem.
people.
Okay.
You can, if you want to enlighten us with more, please do.
Yeah.
What are the your favorite things that I do to you in the bedroom?
Favorite things? We'll ride off that last question. Sometimes when you're like playing with yourself and getting yourself off, it's kind of hot. You know what I mean? I like that. It's super hot. Waking up in the morning. This is kind of our thing. Waking up in the morning and having you go down on me 4 days a week, 3 days a week,
Probably 5.
5 days a week, 5 days a week. We'll go with the 5. It's freaking hot. You know what I mean? Waking up and having your woman pleasuring you is fucking amazing. Like, it's way better than my alarm clock. You know what I mean? Although I will say that I typically get up before you, and I might help stimulate that a little bit. I'm like, hey, babe, are you awake?
Hey.
Oh, you're not awake? Hey, you should wake up now. Are you awake now? I need to go to the gym. You should wake up now.
This is very true.
Those are good. I think in the bedroom, well, there's a lot of things that you do, but like those are the things like right off the top of my mind that come to me. You just walking around like with a shirt on and like no underwear or whatever is like one of the hottest things to me. Just like rolling around the house, which we have kids a lot, doesn't happen all the time. And just sleeping naked. I know it sounds really, really basic and really simple, but just sleeping naked fucking turns me on.
I never slept naked before you, and it used to be kind of an uncomfortable thing. And now on an intimate level, laying next to you naked all night, it's one of my favorite things because I feel like it's like you're in that constant state of intimacy because you're literally naked together.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I'm going to ask you then a question
Yes.
that kind of goes with this. I'm just
Sure.
literally reading your text messages. What is your biggest turn on for both of you?
Ooh,
What's your biggest turn on?
I love your confidence. Like confidence is so sexy in a man. So with you, it's like when you come in and you just have me. You don't ask to have me. You don't, beat around the bush. You just
Pull
there's
your pants off
There's so many
and-
puns in this. What I'm saying,
Babe, you
I
got.
love it.
She needs a shot of whiskey. She's a little bit timid. If we're starting off with like semen facials and busting a nut in your face, you can talk about like throwing you down on the bed, going
Yes.
down on you, the whole deal.
Yeah, that is just your confidence in showing up sexually for me is a huge thing because a lot of dudes don't do that. They're like, oh, could we maybe? Would you want to have
Let's talk
sex?
about that
like,
for a
that
second.
That is huge.
Because that's come up in the past where there's a lot of people that have disconnect sexually or, just sexually.
Sure.
I think that this is I don't want to say taboo, but in the political correct world, like I did a post one time. I'll preface with this. I did a post on Facebook where I was like, fellas, here's the deal. Like you sitting on your phone playing fantasy football, like flirting with your wife across the room, be like, babe, do you want to do it tonight? She's not going to come over and jump your fucking bones. However, she's doing something, you walk up behind her, you put your hands down her pants, you start nibbling on her neck, you freaking start playing with her boobs, guess what? You're fucking on the kitchen counter, right? Like, real talk.
Yep.
I want people to understand, like, I don't, it's not an issue of like, oh, you're not wanting to have sex, and I'm like, no, fuck you, come have sex with me. But there's like a confidence of just being like, we're having sex now. And I've never said no to that. I've never been like, no, babe, I have too much to do today. you're like, hey, I want to come suck your dick. And I'm like, no, I've got to go someplace, right? I think the roles were reversed, and you appreciate me just coming on to you and
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
handling
It's
business, right?
absolutely my favorite.
And it's not a turn off or a whatever that's a turn on.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm also a huge fan of sexting.
Of sexting?
Sexting. I love when we are doing that because by the time we see each other, sex is great.
That was like the other night or the other day for date night when we went up to Sundance, and it was like all day. I was ready to fuck before we even went on date night. I'm like, can we just do it before we go? Because this is going to be But then knowing that you had a butt plug in your purse at dinner, it makes it even hotter. You should have told me that before
you
dinner.
brought a butt plug to dinner?
Yeah.
I was like, I did.
I did a post.
Your wife is great.
Yeah, I did a post about this, right? Our whole date night thing, and we had the room booked, but I remembered you reminded me that I had the fly-in, and we weren't going to be able to spend the night and the whole thing, so I'm like, fuck it. Let's keep the room. Let's just go up. We get into the hotel room, and we sat out on the back deck, and it was fun and the whole thing. And all of a sudden, we started having sex, and you pull out a butt plug. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? You're like, I had it in my purse. I'm like, do you always have this in your purse? This is something that I should know about on the regular. Great. Okay, let's see.
Prioritize date night, guys.
Yes.
Worth it.
Let's see.
Ta-da!
Here's a good question.
'Kay.
Let's talk a little bit more serious. Have you seen an improvement since you got your hormones adjusted? Improvement, obviously, in sex. Have you seen an improvement in our sex life since you got your hormones adjusted?
Not necessarily. I would say I have more energy. I guess that would equate to better sex, but I never had a low libido ever.
Yeah, I would say without question, from a man's standpoint, yes.
Really?
I never had.
Okay.
No, for me.
I'm
for
sorry.
me,
I get you.
not you. For me, I know that a ton of dudes are struggling with testosterone, low testosterone. I never had an issue with having sex, but once I got my testosterone fixed and like my levels up, holy shit! It's like I'm like a 12-year-old waking up with a freaking raging boner every single morning. So, without question,
Fact.
men, get your shit. Yeah, fact. It is a fact. You do know it's a fact. Here's a good question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you. How do I get back into being interested in my partner? How do I get back into being interested in my partner, obviously with sex?
Sure. Well, I want to know, you need to figure out why you fell out of that. And honestly, it's like, I think you could turn it back on. If it was there, just turn it back on, make a decision, and just see that person as your sexual, intimate partner, not as your roommate, not as your kid's other parent. Like, show up for that and put in the effort. Because, I mean, everything in our lives we have the ability to change our mind and our perspective on. We just have to make the decision and do it.
Let's talk about this for a second, because there's a lot of people I think that struggle with this. I did in my marriage. You get to a place of complacency or comfort. I don't even call it complacency, but you get to a place of comfort, right? We have our routines, we have our rituals, we have our we know typically you're going to respond like this, I'm going to respond like this. This is date night, here's what we do. And there's a lot of complacency in sex, right? I mean, it's a bigger question if you're not interested in having sex with this person.
Yeah,
like,
why are you
why?
with
Okay,
them?
did they gain 400 pounds and they're a fat, stinky slob? Like, whatever, cool, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's a different conversation. But from a standpoint of keeping shit alive, it's like anything. Sex is like anything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do the same thing with your body in the gym, you're going to continue to get the same results. If you want to increase size, decrease fat, you have to change shit up, right?
Yeah.
To get a different result, you have to change shit up. And I think there's a lot of stigma around sex from a standpoint of it being not talked about as much, which is great. Let's talk about it. Let's do a fucking podcast on this. But like, I really do believe that, my ex-wife, we didn't talk about it very much. It didn't come up. Like, there wasn't a lot of talk around it. It was like when we're in bed, if I want to have sex or she wants to have sex, it was like, okay, here's what we do with this now, right? But I truly believe talking openly about sex a lot is really healthy. And I really do think that the stigma of what normal looks like is really bad. And what I mean by that is, like, from a man's mind is very, very creative, okay? Like, there's very much an animalistic reality, which and have experienced, that there are days when, just coming to come and just having sex to be able to fill this urge and this need right now. And there's days that I want to fucking throw you around the room and bang your head against the headboard and get absolutely wild fucking crazy, right? That's real. That's absolutely real for men.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to speak for you or speak for women, but I think that men talking about this, it's kind of a taboo thing because there's a notion or an idea that I'm going to be judged for this, or my wife's going to think I'm crazy, or she's going to think I'm looking at porn because I have all of these wild ideas or wild antics or wild notions, right? And I think that's a real hard thing for a man to do, especially when you get into a complacent relationship, when you have kids or, you know, you're in this routine mixing shit up, right? If the average dude who comes home with a vibrator and a fucking dildo and toys and butt plugs and whatever, I want you to answer this and speak to this. I mean, we obviously haven't been married for 40 years and can't speak to that, but I know from being married what went wrong and what didn't happen.
Sure.
And I think now you and I are the exact opposite. So speaking from both sides of this, I know that I would be afraid. I would be nervous to do that, or I would be nervous to even broach that subject because the thought process was, well, what's going on behind this? What's driving this? Are you looking at porn? Are you cheating on me? Is there something else driving this? And it's like, no, my mind is just fucking creative. And I overheard so-and-so talking about, or I listened to a podcast or saw in a magazine or whatever. And I think that people being able to have really open, raw conversations about sex and not having judgment around that is really fucking important. But I also believe, too, that it's hard to do around a lot of different topics, sex being one of them, just based off of our society, based off the fact that we don't talk about it a lot.
Right.
Culturally, societally, like back when I was a kid, we had sex ed class. And it was like one class where they had the condom and they roll it on the banana and they talked about the penis and the vagina and ejaculation and menstruation, and that was it. Like you didn't have conversations around like what, you know, going down on each other was. Like you didn't have talks about anal sex or licking somebody's butthole or butt plugs or anything like that. We didn't talk about that shit. Real talk.
I know.
And so you kind of move into this marriage and this thing now where it's like, okay, here's what we're staying on these rails and we're just going to go down the track this way. And the truth is, like, it becomes a very uncomfortable thing. But I have found, not only with us, but with clients, that both partners typically want to talk about this. And it's kind of that dance of who's going to talk about it first.
Yeah.
Who wants to bring it up first, right? And I strongly encourage everybody listening to this to take a step back and realize, like, if you're in a place where you're like, oh, I'm not really driven anymore, or it's boring, or it's this, that, and the other, there's a high probability, like, if you're thinking that, your partner's probably thinking that. And if you both love each other and you both like knocking boots, why don't you fucking talk about it? Why don't you both go to the sex store? You want to know a real good date night? Real sexy fucking fun date night? Go out to dinner and then go to your local sex store and fucking go walk up and down the aisles and look at the lubes and look at the vibrators and look at the fucking 18-inch dildo that you're not going to do anything with because it's fucking ridiculous, but you could beat a robber up with it. But like real talk, like going and buying toys. You and I have done that. And it's fucking hot as shit. You know what I'm saying? What are your thoughts?
Also, like if you're struggling to have dialogue with your partner, I would say like share podcasts like this. There's a lot of podcasts that talk about sex, because it will give, like, the questions will be presented, and then you guys can kind of have conversation around it. Like, maybe make this particular podcast part of a date night just to comfortably open dialogue on conversations like butt plugs and big dildos you can hit each other with. Stuff like that. You don't know. Maybe you're into that. But it's one of those things, it's like realizing that having all these walls up and all these rules and all this, like, I don't know, resistance with it, that's just scarcity. And it's like, if you want abundance in all areas of life is also an abundance of, like, intimacy with your partner. And it's to me, I feel like it's such a privilege to have a partner to share that connection with. Like, I don't want to have that with the world, right? I want to have that with my husband. And that's really a fun, adventurous place of exploration where we can continue to rediscover and grow and have these conversations. So almost even adjusting your mindset of realizing that, like, this is the ultimate playground. Right. Make it fun.
Well, and I think, too, set it up. Like, ladies, if you're listening to this and you struggle with it, fellas, if you listen to this and you're struggling with it, literally set it up so that you both are almost in anticipation of this, right? Springing the conversation, you know, right after church or during a meeting or something like that, probably not the best place. But literally say, you know what, let's go on date night and let's talk about sex. Like, setting that up to where I want you to tell me every single thing and I'm going to say everything. But then you go into it too without judgment, right? And I think for me, setting myself up that way, hearing whatever you have to say would be rad because it would help me be a better man, a better husband, better lover, right? And vice versa.
Sure.
Cool. I have a question I want to ask you, though.
Okay.
I'm reading these like literally as we're going through here. This is a really simple one, but let's see how raw you want to get, babe. Sexting while he's at work, ? That's obviously a big yes, right?
Definitely.
Ideas. She says ideas.
Ooh.
Now, here's why I wanted to ask this question, because I want you to answer based off what you do, what you send, what you talk about, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about it and what turns me on and what I love.
Yeah. So I get dressed up in lingerie most of the time. Sometimes they're full nude because I like full nude. And I trust my partner. Like, because the other thing is, like, I trust sending you nude photos of me. And I make them very sexy.
Put a
I
nightie
get dressed up. Yep, I wear lingerie and whatever that may be, and I take specific angles, knowing what body parts my husband likes, and I send them. And I spend a lot of time expressing what I want to do to him.
Like what?
Like,
or what you want me to do to you.
Usually about deep throating your dick, because that's your jam.
Yeah.
And I enjoy doing that. So that's something that I know turns your light bulb on in your brain. And then talk about, or I tell you what I want you to do to me. And we can just
explicit. You're like explicit about it.
Yeah.
Dude, the other night, I'm just going to use date night as an example, right? You sent me some pictures, and they were really risque, awesome, amazing, fucking rad pictures. But you were like, dude, what did you say exactly? Not role play, but you're like, tonight.
I want to, I wanted you to
said,
take your dirty little slut out on a date.
Yeah. And it was like, ha ha ha, funny, funny, funny. But
For
like
real.
in my mind, I went like full blown, like rowdy, everything I could think of. And then you're like, I literally want you to shove your dick down my throat.
Yep.
And this might be funny for some people to listen to, but let's be really serious for a second. There isn't a dude fucking listening to this that doesn't want to get a text message from his woman during the day. Bryce, would you like to get a text message from your wife in the middle of the day saying, when you come home today, I want you to shove your dick down my throat? Yes. He said yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Of course.
And I would be willing to bet that 100 out of 100 men would say yes. Now, ladies, that's on you to have the audacity, the love, the connection, the balls, whatever you want to call it, lady balls, to be able to put those things out there. But when you sent me that text, in my mind, I was like, this date night, we are going to get rowdy as fuck, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because I knew where your mind was. I knew where my mind was. And it was really, we had some amazing fucking sex.
That's why I love sexting, because it sets the tone for what's to come.
Right.
But like really sets the tone. It's like you're halfway through
No pun
foreplay
intended.
before you even get to dinner. So that's why sexting is like my
I love
favorite.
sexting. I think sexting too, from a vulnerability standpoint, is really good. What I mean by that is, for me, it's a lot easier to text something. Well, sometimes it's easier for me to text something than it is to say it. Just my own ego, my own pride, my own scarcity, whatever. Like, I'm not very loud in the bedroom. You are. Ask any of our friends that have ever traveled with us, and they'll tell you, like, hey.
Not sorry.
You know, my bad. We were in Vegas not too long ago, and it was with a couple of buddies. We were flying to Texas, and one of our buddies was in the room next door, and I forget how it came up the next day, but apparently we kept him up all night long.
I think you just asked him.
I was like, yo, did you guys hear us last night? He's like, bro, I fucking heard you last night. Anyways.
I truly do try to be quiet. It's just not my jam.
Yeah, but I say that because, like, sometimes there's a lot, and this is maybe a suggestion for you guys that might be struggling, right? If you're struggling in your sex life, if you're disconnected, if it's hard for you guys to connect and communicate, start there. Because the truth is, like, I don't know any men that wouldn't want to get an explicit picture, a naked picture from their wife, and talking about shoving their freaking dick down their throat, or fucking me like on the side of the bed, or bending me over the couch. I don't know any men that would be like, you know what, I don't really like that. That's not a turn on to me. So my suggestion to all y'all, I mean, if we want to give people some advice, start there. if you have a hard time talking about what you want, start with texting, because it's something that's a lot easier, in my opinion, to do than it is to have some of these conversations maybe face to face. Would you agree, dear?
Yep. I want to add too, if you want.
I hope my mom doesn't listen to this.
I was just gonna say, this is not for Joan.
Mom,
The whole
I'm a grown
this
man.
is like kind of off topic, but not. But I don't want to forget to share this with people. When I was in my early 20s, I had a friend, and her boyfriend used to role play with wigs.
Yep.
And this was a cool concept because they were engaged, and they had kids and stuff. So they had the grind of like daily life, and he was this successful doctor, and just great people. Well, she had multiple colors of wigs, and they were all different aliases. So this was their game, is he would choose who he wanted to go out with or who he wanted to fuck that night. And they had names, and she had like personalities and styles of sex per alias.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's absolutely brilliant. I love it so much. So to him, he was like, had this plethora of women that he fucked, but it was just his fiance. But they loved it. They just had the best time with it. And I always thought, it was just something I kept. I mean, I was 21 when these people were in my life, and years later, I'm like, I think that's brilliant.
After the other night, you have a nickname now, or I should say, you have a new persona.
So now I have 3.
I like it.
I do too.
I like it.
I do too.
Let's see. Here's a funny one. Do you brush your teeth or make Sean brush his teeth before morning sex?
No.
No.
I don't make Sean do anything.
Yeah. Look, when you're, yeah, man.
We just fuck.
And just turn around. You know what I'm saying? You can't smell my breath when I'm freaking bending you over. You know what I'm saying? Okay, what do you got?
Okay. Let's see. What makes a woman good or bad in bed?
I don't know. I don't know. I think that there's the hookup where you're just hooking up to fuck, which is what it is, and then there's the real connection of sex,
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that, because to me there's no such thing as bad sex. I mean,
do you remember when someone talked about starfishing, and we were like, what is starfishing? We had to Google it. Apparently that's just when you lay there and do nothing.
Oh yeah, to me, and I think any man would say this, bad. Like, as long as as long as you get off, like, you're like, yeah, that was great, right? It might not have been adventurous, it might not have been exciting, it might not have been jumping around and sweaty fucking 3-hour sex kind of a deal, but to me, there is no such thing as bad sex with you. Even like we talked about this the other night, even just waking up in the morning and just fucking and
rolling over,
15 minutes,
it in, get it done.
Literally, like we have literally probably a couple days a week we'll wake up, like, not even really say anything. We fuck and we go right back to sleep. Like, that's it. Like, that's it. We just wake up in the morning. Sometimes it's 4 in, 5 in, 3 in.
It's usually when the sun's coming up.
Yeah, sun's coming up. We fuck and then we go back to bed till like 6 or 7 or whatever else. I think it's great. I want to ask this one because this is a huge topic.
Get it, baby.
And I might want to like try and redo the question, but she said porn is your non-negotiable, but yours. Okay, this doesn't make any sense. Let's talk about porn for 2 seconds. I'm trying to read her question, but it doesn't make any sense. What are your thoughts on porn?
I think it's a weird version of sex. Okay, so I like watching the act of people having sex, but porn is so fabricated.
Hang on, I got the question now. She's just writing letters that mean words, I guess, which is weird. SO means your significant other. I didn't realize that. So here's the question. Porn is your non-negotiable, but your significant other has sex like he's in a porn. How to tell him it's a turnoff. So
tell him it's a turnoff.
Yeah, tell him it's a turnoff. Now carry on with your conversation about porn.
Like, just tell your partner the truth, and that's helpful. But porn, good or bad, I don't know. Like, I think it's kind of funny to watch. We don't watch it. We'd rather make them than watch them.
I've never been into porn. I never got into porn. My mind is too creative. I mean, I've seen it, right? But it's like, I never really was like, I need to watch porn or let's watch porn to be creative. Like, we're very creative.
Yeah, there's very little that's done in porns that I'm like, yeah, I want that done to me. It just seems very not my
It's not my jam. I'm not going to judge anybody if it's your jam. If it's what you do, it's what you do. I'm not for it. I definitely can see how people can get hung up on it, and definitely can see how it could affect a relationship and affect sex with your partner if you let it. But that's shit. Fucking, you can make Diet Coke a problem if you really wanted to.
Yeah, same
you know
with
what I mean?
strip clubs, same with all of it. It's just
Yeah.
like it's what you make of it. You gonna do one?
Somebody said, would you be interested in doing a boudoir? How do you say it? Boudoir?
Boudoir.
Is that how you say it? Boudoir shoot by yourself or as a couple. Saxony's done a couple of them by herself,
lot,
but we are in negotiations right now to do one. Not with the photographer. We're in negotiations with ourselves.
I've always wanted to do one, and
Yeah,
I think
we're gonna
as
do
soon
one.
as we started dating, I was like, we should do one of those.
Yeah, we're gonna do one.
I want a big, sexy one over our bed. That's just
Well, there's
always
a guy we found on Instagram, an artist who's from France. Is he from France or Italy?
I Am Line or something?
I Am Line.
Oh my gosh,
I don't know who the
he's
dude
so
is.
good.
We're giving you a shout out, homeboy.
A lot
Maybe
of
you should do a picture for us. But he does drawings that are very, very, very sensual. They're not like super graphic. They're kind of that. They're graphic enough that you know what's happening, but you're not like seeing somebody's butthole or nipples or whatever. They're really sexy though.
Oh, I love
and we were
them.
like, let's do a photo shoot and then send him one of the pictures that he can draw of us, and then we'll hang that up in the room. But yeah, we're totally into that.
I'm way into boudoir shoots. I think they're so empowering. I've done them single. I've done them for, purposes like whatever. I love them. I actually had a birthday party 2-3 years ago where I had all my girlfriends and my mom come in, and we did a huge boudoir shoot. It's called like a goddess photo session. And we just got naked, not together, but it's very empowering. I think it's very sexy, and I love being naked though. I think being naked's great. I'm a big fan.
Here's a funny question. You seem to desire sex more than the stereotypical female. Do you think you're atypical? That's a funny question.
Okay. Yes and no. I have a lot of girlfriends who are very sexual. We've had open conversations around this. I think that I have less conditioning to be open. I don't think that I'm an anomaly. So my upbringing was super open. I've shared this before. My grandma was a Playboy bunny. My family, we had open conversations about it. I didn't grow up in a really religious, conservative family where it was like, we don't talk about sex. So I feel like I was just given less conditioning to restrict my feelings around being open with sex. So to me, it's like, I think women are very sexual creatures. I think I'm actually in the middle of writing a book called The Fully Aroused Woman, and it's about this. It's about fully embodying yourself as a woman and what that looks like. I think that like we just have all these stories around our bodies and stories around what is good and what is bad, and I don't buy into that shit. So, and I do really like to have sex, and I hope you do too. And I hope that this podcast.
Are you saying that to me?
No, I know you do. I'm
yeah.
talking to our people.
Oh.
And women, like, I give that gift to yourself. You'll feel better in all areas. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
How long was it after y'all met that y'all had sex?
Ooh,
1.0 and 2.0.
This is good because what's really interesting is I've never had a one-night stand. I've never just like picked somebody up at the bar, met somebody, fucked, and that was it. Never saw them again. It's just never been a thing for me. But what's interesting is with Sax and I, like my good buddy Greg was going through he was on this journey where he was doing like he didn't cut his hair for 3 years. He had no sex for 3 years, no drinking, no anything. It was just this weird thing that he was doing, and it was super cool. But I remember him talking about where he was at prior to that, like in dating, and he was like not going to have sex with somebody for a period of time, right? And when we met, I didn't kiss you. We figured this out the other day. I didn't kiss you for over a month.
Till August 19th.
And so we figured it was like
months.
6 or 7 dates that we went on before I ever even kissed you. And that was on purpose. That was intentional, because you probably would have fucked me the first time. Let's be serious. You would have.
We'll never
I'm
know.
a hot fucking commodity, baby.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. I'm a betting man. All right. Anyways, whatever. But for me, I wanted to write a different story. And it wasn't necessarily you, it was me. It was more my choice. Because to me, I think if you have sex right out of the gates, it fucks things up. And I have found through dating and through experiences that for me as an individual, like that just became kind of a thing. Like if you're willing to fuck me on the first date, you'll fuck anybody on the first date. And if you're out going on other dates, then I'm really not interested in that kind of reality, right? And you're kind of the same way. For you and I didn't kiss you for 5, 6, 7 dates, and I think we were dating for at least.
Well, it was August because it was right after my birthday.
It was at least like a month or so that before we had sex.
Yeah, like probably 2 months from our first date to then. Yeah.
And I look, I'm not going to tell people what to do with their life. You guys do whatever the fuck you want, right? I think that our connection was a lot stronger than I've had connections prior to with other people because of that. And I think there was a more, I know that you had questions. You're like, I don't even know if you have said that. I don't even know if this guy likes me or whatever. And,
I was on a lot of levels. I'm like,
you're like, what the hell? Why won't even fucking kiss me? But for me, I wanted to experience something different and not have it just be physical, you know? And I think this is hard for a lot of people, especially if you've been if you've been divorced. If you're used to having sex on the regular and now all of a sudden you're hanging out with somebody and you're dating somebody and you're wanting that, that's a very, very, very pivotal part of connection and relationship. But I definitely think that if you're jumping in and having sex right out of the gates and that's your primary source of connection, I think that's a struggle. It was a struggle for me because then all you really have is the physical connection. Where with you and I, we went on a number of dates. We sat and talked for hours and hours and hours and hours long before we ever had sex. And I truly attribute a lot of where we are now to that decision.
Yeah, we definitely built a foundation of communication before we ever were intimate. That's definitely.
But once we started having sex, we were fucking like crazy.
Fact.
And it was great.
Yes.
Tell him.
I guarantee you're having the same thought.
I know I am. So tell him.
It might have been the first time we had sex.
It was.
He was in my house, and I was bent over my bed. And I just remember stopping, like, Matrix style, you know, just, like, everything's happening in slow motion. I was like, yeah, I can do this. Just getting fucked from behind, like, yep, I think I'm in. It's all right.
She told me
he loves this story.
She told me that, and I laughed so freaking hard the first time we had sex.
I was like, all right. Because sometimes I'm like, man, this is really not going that well.
She's like, I remember turning around, like, looking at you, just going, yeah, okay, I can do this.
We're going to Pound Town. Let's go, babe.
It definitely built the ego a little bit, you know? Next question.
Oh, okay. You're going to do it?
No, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Someone wants to know, how do you come when your man rushes you? Tell him to slow the fuck down.
Yeah, dude. Look.
This is the thing is, I need you to speak your truth in the bedroom.
100%.
All these questions are like, how? Just fucking say that. Say, hey, you're moving way too fast. Like, I'm not getting to climax when you're just, you know, getting you off. And a lot of, this is a common thing. And so you just need to communicate that. And then it's not that he sucks at what he's doing. It's just like, hey, be mindful of the fact that, like, my body doesn't work like yours. Maybe you could spend a little more time doing this.
If you're not
beforehand.
Explaining this, like, guy, listen, guys some of us are very smart and intuitive. And there's a lot of us that don't know how to fucking read minds. Like everybody doesn't know how to read minds. So if you want something, talk about it. If you need something, talk about it. Now, on the flip side of that, fellas, like, let's have a real conversation for 2 seconds. 99.9999999%, unless you're on drugs or something else, you're always going to freaking bust the nut. You're always going to get what you came for, right? You're always going to fucking come. Let's call it what it really is. Spend some time on your woman, man. Like, look, there's one thing for us just having a nooner, fucking on the couch, whatever. But even then, like, I'm ensuring that this is as enjoyable and profitable for you as it is for me, right? But let's be serious for 2 seconds. It's fun. Fellas, like, explore. You know what I'm saying? Like, do some crazy shit. Use your fucking mouth. If you need to Google it, learn, get some fucking books. You understand what I'm saying?
Bryce was going to do a little cameo and talk about eating pussy on here.
Bryce was? I don't want Bryce
he
talking about
rehearsed it
pussy
downstairs.
on my podcast.
He has that black necklace. He says it's a black belt in eating pussy.
Oh, Jesus.
He's been married a long time, obviously.
I'll ask his wife if that's the case. But, great. Then congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Okay. I'm having a conversation here with the people, okay? But real talk, like that is, would you agree, dear, that me spending time on you, and I'm not just talking about whispering poems into your ear and having to caress you. It's eating your pussy. It's like, you know what I'm saying?
It is.
It's knowing what your body likes, doing what your body likes, kissing you places, licking you places, doing things, and it's even for a quickie, even for a nooner.
Yeah.
You know, learn some skill sets, fellas, and you can have an enjoyable experience every single time.
Yep.
Would you agree, dear?
I would agree.
These are great. We're starting to get into a roll.
Babe, what is your favorite sex toy?
You're not really big into sex toys, and I'm not either. However,
I like the real deal, babe.
butt plugs are obviously fun, but there's something for me about that. You've got that blue vibrator or whatever that I love playing with that. Like there's something about like when like if we're 69ing and I'm playing with that thing and using it on you, it's fucking rad. I don't know. That's the first thing that came to my mind. As you're asking questions, this is why I didn't want to read any of these questions, so I had these predetermined answers. But there's something about having a vibrator and using it on you and watching it and experiencing it. It fucking turns me on big time. Yeah, I love it.
Someone gave us a bag of vibrators.
Yeah, we were at an airport. No,
we were at Stuman's event.
Oh, it's Stuman's event.
Like, some dude, I have a bag of sex toys. I'm like,
some guy at Stuman's event owns a sex store, and he came over and he literally brought a suitcase full of vibrators and dildos, and he was giving them to people. He's
and
like,
they're so silky and like silicone.
Yeah,
they're just soft and lovely.
What about you? What's your favorite toy?
Butt plugs.
Butt plugs?
I don't know. They're just, they're taboo in a way, and that just does something to my brain.
Cool.
It is what it is.
Is there anything off limits?
Yeah, but not with two consenting adults. I think that, well, there are things that are off limits, but not a lot. Like, honestly, things like
punching you in the face and throwing shit at you, or
like I'm not going to be down to rent a prostitute with my husband. It's not going to be a thing. I don't like violence. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to be choked a little bit, but I don't like to. Like I have heard stories about chicks full on punching.
Dude,
dudes
who's
in
the
face.
baseball player that just had that happen?
I have never wanted to punch you in the face.
Did you hear about that? There's some baseball player. I forget who he was. He was hooking up with this chick. They met at a bar. They were fucking whatever. And like graphic text messages. They were like violent. Like she wanted to be like choked out, like make me go unconscious kind of shit. Well, then they hooked back up again, and apparently like he wanted her to punch her or whatever. And they were like fucking punching each other. Well, then she got all mad and went to the police, and it turned into a big, huge fucking ordeal. But there's people that are into that shit.
Yeah.
I don't want to get punched in the face during sex.
Yeah, my friend's son came home.
What? Did you look it up?
Story.
Yeah, it's a true story. Huh? Yeah, the Dodgers guy, Trevor Bauer.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild stuff, man. Trevor, I don't know you, not trying to put you on blast or whatever, but I was fascinated reading this story about this deal.
I'm not into violence. I'm not into being shit on. I know that's a thing.
Oh, that's disgusting.
I'm not into animals. Like there's people are into stuff.
People into weird shit.
Anything that's like no. So those would be my off limits.
Cool. We don't really have any limits. I don't even know how somebody would be. I mean, people are turned on by weird shit, I guess. I don't know. Shitting on somebody that's just. Then what?
I don't know.
What do you do? Then what? Who's fucking cleaning up? Like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, the answer to the question is there aren't any off limits from us, with us. And I actually really enjoy having really graphic conversations and exploring shit and saying, what about this and what about that? Mm-hmm. We don't punch each other. I mean, there's something about like real, like, I don't want to, is aggressive the right word?
I like aggressive.
I like aggressive. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes it's just like, it's fucking erotic. It's hot as shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like pinning your arms down, like doing different things like that. Like I've never been into the choking thing. I'm not into choking for me personally, but there's something about that, like grabbing your neck and like, not like, hey, can you breathe? Can you breathe? Like I'm not trying to like have you go unconscious, but like that aggression sometimes in
Yeah.
sex is really fucking hot.
I mean, from my standpoint, like a very dominant male is a huge turn on. Like I said,
Yeah.
that like that confidence.
Confident.
It's the same thing. It's like coming in and just having your way with me. I'm like, okay, every time.
Speaking of that, Natasha says, "What's your favorite thing that Sean does for you in bed?"
Eats my pussy when I'm on my back, though. I'm very specific about which pussy. I like all of them. Like I like to 69. I like to sit on your face. I like all that. But like when I'm on my back, it's just the best.
Yep. God bless America.
It's just my favorite.
God bless America. Okay, what else? You got some more?
Let's see. Someone wants to know more on tantric sex. So this has been an area that am still in discovery on. It's an involvement of like spiritual connection with physical body sex. I think it's super. It just sounds delicious. Yeah, we don't consciously or say, hey, we're gonna have tantric sex, but we do. Mm-hmm. And there's so many books and podcasts and things on it, but it's incorporating like that deep spiritual connection with your sex life, and that's amazing.
We've had some cool experiences.
Are you thinking about Pal? We shouldn't talk about that.
Oh yeah, that was great. We had.
I'll tell it.
We don't have to get into all of the details.
No, not all the details.
Whatever, but go ahead and tell the sex part.
This was a very, very spiritual moment.
We were having a spiritual experience.
Very spiritual moment, and I was on top of Sean, and when I came, I swear to God, I had this vision of like, doors fly open of a barn when you get married and all the doves fly out? That happened as I was coming. And I'm like, I just bent over and I was like, Sean, I don't know what the fuck just happened, but that happened. And so then Taryn and I were like looking up symbolism of white doves, which is great. They're about loyalty.
She came so hard and just was like, what? It was a moment where we were connected where I was like, yo.
That was a very
That was fucking
moment.
bananas. Like, whatever just happened, that was biblical, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, I saw doves. I'm like, what do you mean you saw doves? She's like, I saw doves like open up. I saw these doors open and doves fly out while I was coming, and I was like, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I like couldn't even catch my like breath though. I was so.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I guarantee you now somebody's going to send us a fucking picture of doves or a drawing of doves or send us a statue of a fucking dove. Tomorrow we're going to wake up, there's going to be doves on the fucking front porch.
Doves are okay.
Shit. Please
Doves
don't
are
send
okay.
us any doves or whatever. But that would be kind of funny, actually. Okay, here's another one. Where did it go? We talked about limiting beliefs, whatever.
I have one if you want.
Somebody wants to talk about a couples retreat. We're actually going to do that. Okay, I want you to talk about this.
We should have a whole like sex ed section of our retreat.
Yeah, I like this because we're getting warmed up. Like real talk, we're doing a podcast right now talking about our sex life.
Yeah.
We're talking about a lot of pretty intimate stuff, which you know what? That's just what we do. It's who we are. We're cool with it. But real talk, it's a little nerve-wracking to have the conversation because it's like, how far do we go? Like, are we all in? Are we talking about little stuff? We start talking about coming on each other's faces. It's like, well, I guess we're all in this conversation, right? But props to us for having this conversation because most people can't even talk about it themselves, let alone on a fucking podcast that's going to be shipped all over the world that somebody's going to listen to 30 years from now. When I'm running for president, I guarantee you there will be sound bits from this podcast used. And you know what's going to be great about this? Real talk? That's probably what's going to help me win. Because all the women are going to be like, yep, I agree with that. And all the dudes are going to be like, props to you, bro.
First lady.
See? It's going to help. Hang on. I want you to answer this question. I want you to talk about
I'm ready,
this,
baby.
This is big. And then whatever else you got. She said, how do you want to have sex daily? And then said, 2 small kids, 2 businesses, and homeschooling has me beat. This is something that comes up all the time. Mm-hmm. I'm busy. I'm tired. I've got kids. We have little kids. We have big kids. We have jobs. We have horses and dogs and da-da-da-da-da. Like, this comes up all the fucking time. Mm-hmm. Take this one, baby.
Okay, so I look at like core 4, right? It's how we live our lives is what Sean coaches around. Every area is as important as the next. Your body, your mind, your business, your relationships, they're all equally important. And so I know when having little kids around, it becomes exhausting. But
Did your phone just
my
ring?
alarm just went off. I don't even know what for. So what I would say to that is just not just make time, but like make it fun. Like do things like tell him to go meet you at the church parking lot in the freaking Suburban, the family wagon, and go fuck him in the, like have your mom come over real quick. Like, oh, I'm gonna, can you watch the kids while we go grocery shopping? Go fuck in the car. Like do things that are way fun and like not predictable. Because if you remove yourself from the house, like you can fuck anywhere. I mean, even like, I don't know.
But even you like talk about the tired thing though, because that's very real. It's a very real excuse that a lot of people use. It's a very real reality for a lot of people.
Sure.
Like talk about that for a second.
Well, we have multiple businesses. We have 5 kids. We have dogs. We have life. Like we get it. That is one reason why we wake up and the first thing we do is fuck. It's because we haven't seen our kids yet. We haven't made breakfast yet. We haven't looked at our phones yet. We haven't done any of the things that life is going to make us tired for. We're number one priority when we wake up is like, let's do this. And then if we can fuck again in the day or after date night that night, cool. That's just a bonus. Or if we can, pull a nooner off in the laundry room or whatever that is, that's a bonus. But we prioritize it. Like you make time for what you prioritize, right? Yep. What matters to you. And so just do it. And if your kids are sleeping in your bed, which I know is a huge issue, don't let them sleep in your bed. With my oldest...
Well, dude, let them... Okay, here, let's create a solution for that. Kids are sleeping in your bed. Let them fucking sleep. Get out of bed and go in the living room and fuck on the couch.
But I think it's a bigger problem when kids... So when my babies were little, they slept with me. But the little toddler thing, no, I actually locked my door when Tyne was a little guy because he'd just walk in. And it's like I used to lock him out of... My house isn't so big that he couldn't knock a million times on the door, but he couldn't just come in. So creating a boundary where, I can have this open sexual relationship with my husband when we have little kids. Like, there's no negotiation. Like, I prioritize sex too much, period. Doesn't matter what else is going on in life.
Yep. I'm reading through some of these other ones. There's a lot of questions about, like, somebody said, how do you initiate sex after it's been so long and you don't know how anymore?
She's holding a baby in that picture too.
You're answering your own fucking question. How do you initiate sex after it's been so long and you don't know how anymore? Did you at one point in time? Fantastic. Go do that. Go do that. If you were engaged and you were dating and you were humping all day long, the only variable now is children. Guys, listen, if something's changed, you've changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got kids. We got 5 kids between the two of us. We got kids. Like, we have kids at the house right now. Like, we have kids that are still 9 years old and 12 years old that are still at the fucking house, and we fuck every day. Kids are kids are kids are kids. It is what it is, right? If you're using kids or anything else as an excuse to not have sex, or if you're saying, I don't know how to initiate sex anymore. Well, how did you initiate sex when you were dating? Right. Well, I just stick my hand down his pants and grab his dick. Fantastic.
Do that.
Why don't you do that again? If you're not doing that, understand something. Ladies, I'm talking to you right now for a second. I'll talk to the fellas in a second. Ladies, if you were flirty, if you were like sitting at dinner and being like, I don't have any underwear on, I don't have any panties on. If you were like sensual and sexual and grabbed his dick, sucked his dick, told him to fuck you while you were dating, while you were courting, when you were first married, and you're not doing that now, understand something. That has nothing to do with your children, with your house, with jobs, with money, with anything. That is 100%, baby, correct me if I'm wrong, 100% a choice. You quit putting your hands down his pants. You decided to put on panties versus no panties. You made those choices, period. Now, fellas, same thing goes for you. If you were courting your woman, emotionally connected, gave a shit about her, showed up for her, did these things while you were dating, while you were first married, and now you're just an asshole who just wants to fuck whenever you want, and you pay no attention, you pay no mind, you don't do date night, you don't invest emotionally, physically, psychologically, don't be surprised why she doesn't want to fuck you.
Right. Amen.
That was a good little rant.
Amen.
Bryce, chop that shit up, send it out to the World Wide Webs. Baby, you got any more questions? I think I went through all of yours.
I'm just bouncing
I'm really surprised,
around.
though. I think we should really dive into why you started with that question. I'm intrigued by
Because
that.
I laughed
it's
so,
so weird.
hard downstairs talking about it. Someone wants to know about period sex. Are you into it? I don't have a period.
I don't really
but
give a shit.
Does it? I don't think it's a big deal.
I don't could care less.
I don't know why. I'm
not going down on you, but like I have no problems having sex if you're on your period.
Yeah.
I don't think really very many men do. You jump in the shower when you're done, change the sheets, you're good to go.
Right.
Huh? Red
Right?
Wings? You earn your Red Wings. Oh, got it.
I don't
Didn't
have
know that.
a period, so we don't. It's not really a big deal. What do you enjoy the most about our intimate connection?
There aren't a lot of expectations or rules, which I personally enjoy. Mm-hmm. There's not that, meaning, we're very connected in our communication, in our conversations, in what we both like, what we don't like. And I think the expectation around sex, like, you're totally kosher to just have a nooner, and we don't need to sit there and snuggle for an hour afterwards and have me, read poetry to you. You're totally cool to just fucking carry on with the day, mm-hmm. right? And not having a lot of, I guess you could say, expectations around that. Like, that's been something for me in the past where it's like, oh, are we good? Is everything cool? Like, are you good? Are you good? Like, there were a lot of sticky points, if you will. And so one of the things I enjoy about our intimate connection is, like, we can lay in bed and snuggle and not have sex and be totally connected. We can literally wake up. I could wake up at 3 a.m, fuck you, and go right back to bed, and you're completely fucking kosher. And it's not well, you woke me up at 3 a.m, what's up with that kind of a deal? Mm-hmm. Like, there's not a lot of, and I know that in the past came from scarcity, came from a lot of other issues. But I know as a guy, like, you want to perform, you want to have these things, and you want to know, are we good? Am I good? Is this good?
Yeah.
And not having to need that or have that be our reality, it's way fucking chill. Hmm? It's way, way, way chill. It's very, very easy, I guess, is a simple way to describe it.
Yeah, I'm gonna concur. I echo that as well. Just having the openness creates this, like, it's abundance. When you're open, you have abundance, right? Same with sex. Like, I love the part of our intimacy where it's like we are open. Like, we don't have a lot of rules and walls and scarcity and restrictions, and it's not super black and white. So it's like we don't go in with this, like, oh God, I hope this goes right. I hope this doesn't backfire on me. We don't have those things as part of our connection, and so it stays, like, warm and gooey most of the time. It's like, I feel like when
literally.
you really so great.
Literally.
You ready for a really good one?
What's interesting, I didn't read. I kind of like not having read them because I'm on the fly, man.
This one
is a good one.
Is on the fly.
Is it graphic?
Uh-huh.
Is it going to be gory?
Not gory. Really juicy.
Tell me.
Best way to eat a girl out.
I should just do like a. How would we do an instructional video on this without making it porn? A very ripe peach. Going to the store, babe. Go to the store. I'm gonna fucking do a video.
You don't need a peach.
Sure. When I run for president, is coming back up. Oh, you want to elect this asshole who's eating out a peach? People will be like, oh yeah, that was a fucking great video. You have no idea how many times I used that video. Here's one thing that I would suggest. Obviously, I love going down on you. I love it. I think you absolutely have to have connection and communication around where you are. Like, if you're not feeling it, if you've been at the gym or you're sweaty and gross, whatever, it's true. Like, we're really going to talk about this. You know that. You hop in the shower, we're good to go, right? But 99% of the time, that's not the case. But I think, without question, having that communication, be like, yo, your pussy stinks. Like, let's have a conversation around this. Because if your pussy stinks, I don't want to spend time down there, right? So, fellas.
That goes for sex period. Like, just take care of yourself.
Right. Fellas have no bones about, like, being able to communicate with your woman and tell her that. And ladies, if he tells you that, handle that shit. Don't get offended. Don't get mad. Don't whatever. If he's telling you something, don't be stupid. Listen to that motherfucker if you want him to go down on you, right? I think, without question, that's number one. Number two, not all vaginas are made the same, okay? I think they all function the same way, but they're not all the same. So now that we get that out of the way, have communication. If all of a sudden I'm licking over here and you need me over there, why don't you just tell me? If you want my tongue here versus over there, you tell me. There is no shame in that. And fellas, like, it ain't, you're not a hard ass for being like, I eat the best pussy in town, whatever. And the truth is you don't, because just because you put your face down there doesn't mean you're good at it. Talk to your freaking woman about that. I mean, we hit it off pretty good. I enjoy it very much. We found pretty damn fast, like, we connected in this and both ways, with you going down on me going, and we were good out of the gates. But if it's not working for you, tell me about it. And fellas, communicate on that shit. Yeah. Without question.
Keep your ego out of the bedroom.
Get your ego. Yeah, you have to, man. Like,
be willing to take feedback, because I've told you, like, I don't know. I don't have a dick.
Right.
I don't know what works. I know how to. I'm very sensual with my mouth. I love to kiss. I have an idea, because I get super aroused.
I've told
by
Sax certain
doing
things. I'm like, I like this.
Tell me what
Try
you
this.
want, because I don't expect you to be the same as you or whatever. And same with, chicks. So it's like having that direction. Like, I tell you, if I want you to do something differently, if you're down there, I tell you to do something different. And it's like, why would I waste your time?
Yeah.
If I don't tell you, I'm wasting your time, and I'm certainly wasting my own.
Yeah, ladies, don't you want to enjoy it? Great, then tell them. Fellas, there's no ego in this. Like, you being able to go down on your woman and actually be good at it and use that as another tool in your sexual connection, get freaking good at it, man. Enjoy it. Like, learn. You know what I mean? I will say this, too. Like, somebody asked a question about, like, him coming quick or whatever. I had a buddy, well, I'm not going to name names or whatever, but when we were married, we had a couple, friends that were a couple, you know what I'm talking about? You have the couple friends, whatever. And we nicknamed him the one pump chump, because he was like in and done in 15 seconds, didn't give a shit, right? And I bring this up for a reason. Like, as I stated earlier, it is a 100% certainty that a man is going to get what he needs to get. Man's going to come. You put the penis in the vagina, you spend enough time down there doing the deal, it's going to happen, right? You got to learn, fellas, like, number one, yourself. There's no pride or ego in this. Like, there's an ego from the time we were little kids about big dicks, about being the man, about sex, and this is very real for men. Like, you got to be the man, and who's got the biggest dick, and who performs, and it's all about this, and it's all about that, and I'm good in bed. What? You're good in bed? Why? Because you stuck your dick in a vagina? That doesn't make you good in bed. You're good in bed because, like, what? You got a big dick? Like, big, huge, giant dicks, they're kind of a problem, right? So I'm saying this simply because I've heard, and there was a question in here about essentially him being a one pump chump, and it's like, dudes, fellas, slow the fuck down. You know what I'm saying?
Or maybe masturbate and get yourself off before you have sex.
Yeah, learn your body. Learn how to freaking function with your woman. Yeah. There's this idea that you're out dating, and especially when you're starting to have connection sexually, I mean, I get it. I know. Like, am I good? Am I not good? How do I compare? Where do I size up? Whatever. I think you and I might be, I don't want to say the word anomaly, but you and I just got right down to the freaking brass tacks with everything out of the gates. Like, there was no filter with anything, with any of our conversations, especially with sex. And it made it a lot fucking easier for us to connect, I think, when we were both like, we're really not here to play any games. Like, there's no ego in this. Like, yo, do this. I like this. I don't like this.
Yeah. So speaking of ego, this is a question. I know this comes up a lot for guys and chicks. Here's the question: is my wife doesn't like giving me oral sex, and I'm open with her about wanting it. Any advice? And I've heard the same. You were on a speaker with a dude a while back, and he was talking about like, oh, yeah, I just do it because I have to, blah 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 blah, like eating his girlfriend's pussy out or whatever it was. And it's like, this is mental to me, because it's like, if you've gotten yourself to a place where you don't want to do certain things, ask yourself why. Right. Like, why will you kiss your husband? Why will you have sex with him, but you won't have oral sex? Like, to me, I don't understand it. And maybe there's like, I don't understand why. Because to me, I want to make love to your whole fucking body. Like, there's not a part of you,
Amen.
and I'm serious.
Get it, girl.
There's not a part of you that I don't want to pleasure. Any of it. And you know that about me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't understand of like how I can categorize. Here's this man that I love. I'm very attracted to. I have this committed partnership with him. Like, I'm going to do all these things, but I'm not going to do any of this. And because to me, it's like, I also don't want that restriction anywhere in my life.
Right.
I don't want that, but I'm not going to go here.
Right.
But I'm not going to actually work that hard in this area. It's like, I don't want that. I want full abundance and full connection in everything.
Right.
And I think that the biggest thing is mindset. It's like, if she's not wanting to perform oral sex, work with like why. Maybe find a sex coach. Like, they exist. Like, because there's something mental in there that she's either in. We know this is super common. It's like there's this, it's a chore.
Oh yeah.
It's not a chore. One of my favorite things. It's like, if you love kissing, you should love giving a blowjob, and you should love eating pussy. I love kissing. It's absolutely my favorite thing to do, and it's oral. So I just translate that. I do the same with your neck. I do the same. It's like, I put my mouth all over you. Turn your mindset around it. Maybe is that. It's like, you get to enjoy the full body of your partner.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I mean, it's a story. Mm-hmm. Maybe you had trauma. I won't I won't pretend that somebody doesn't have trauma around it. Cool. If you do, solve that problem. There isn't a guy on the planet that doesn't love a blowjob, period. Like, especially if you're in a relationship, especially if you're married. Whatever your hang up is with it, whatever you've got to deal with it. But I agree with you 100%. It's like, even going down on you, it's like, why would I not want to do that? Yeah. I enjoy that. I'm the exact same way. Like, we do things that I've never done before, and it's like it's the entire experience of connection. You know what I mean? But I think too, if somebody says like that's a problem, or I don't like it, or this, that, or the other, there's a lot of other rules and stories that they're probably hanging on to that could probably open up your life in every facet.
Yeah.
You know?
I just want to end this question with this, is that I feel more empowered when I'm giving you a blowjob than in any other area of sex, because I am literally fully present in pleasuring my partner. And if that doesn't make me feel empowered, I don't know what does. Like, I love it. I'm in full control of how you're feeling. I get to fully express myself in connection to you. Like, I literally love it. Mm-hmm. And it's
I do
all in
too.
how you look at it.
I'm a big fan.
And maybe if it gets, boring,
big fan.
We've learned that, like, sometimes sideways is really fun. Or
we
on your
explore
side
every
is
way.
really, like, you can give a blowjob in all the directions you can imagine.
Yeah.
And it's so, apparently it feels way different.
We should seriously do a book. Like, how would we do this though? Like, drawings?
I don't know, but it'll be great.
Whatever it is, it's going to be a big seller. I guarantee that. I agree with you though. It's
and learning to do things that are even, like, I don't know. I was going to go into deep throating, but that's just, there's more. It's endless. It's not just give a blowjob. There's a whole book on blowjobs.
Yeah. Yes, there is. You're good at it, babe.
This is just great.
How many other questions do you have?
I probably have a lot. We were bouncing around. Advice for men on learning their wife's body.
Pretty simple. Babe, do you like this? Yes or no? Mental note. Babe, do you like this? Yes or no? Mental note.
Yeah. Another thing is too, is like, it's cool when, like, I know what body parts you love the most on me. Another thing is, so I dress for date night according to those body parts. Sometimes I sext according to those body parts. So it's like, getting to know her body is also like expressing what you love about her body, and just having that kind of interchanging conversation around the physical.
Communication will solve every single, Jordan Peterson talks about this. Talks about how the truth is the single greatest remedy to every ailment on earth. You'd be surprised how amazing your sex life can be just by learning to communicate better, learning to speak better.
This guy wants to know if you ever feel inadequate for me. And I think that a lot of guys do.
No.
And women feel inadequate.
You know what's interesting? We talked about this the other day. I've never, this was an issue. I don't want to say an issue, but this is something that came up for me in the past. Like, I've never asked you about like your past and sexual experiences and where you've been and how many guys you've been with or this, that, or the other. I've made a place where it's never been real for me. It's never been a need for me. And it's never been something that I care about. And I think it's because I've elevated my self-worth and my self-confidence. And I think for a lot of my life, I didn't have that confidence to where I did compare or I did judge or, I mean, that's natural for every single man. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If you've seen 20 dicks, where am I? Am I in the top 1%, the bottom 1%? You know what I mean? Where am I at? But I got to a place where I realized that regardless of you slept with 10 guys or 10,000 guys, what does that have to do with me having sex with you right now?
Right.
And that goes for anything. Like, that's relationship 101. You could have had a ton of bad experiences, a ton of great experiences. Like, you could be married and divorced 27 fucking times. What does that have to do with right now?
Correct.
What does any of your past relationships or any of my past relationships have to do with right now? Nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. There's literally nothing that your past experiences, emotionally, psychologically, sexually, none of those have anything to do with me and you right now.
Right.
And that's true. It's 100% true. Now, a lot of people will say, well, but there was trauma. There was this. There was that. Let me be really candid. And a lot of people aren't going to like hear me say this, but your past trauma has nothing to fucking do with me. Nothing. I'm empathetic to it. I'm sensitive to it. I'll play ball however you need me to play ball. But where you've been, what you've done, what your past was has nothing to fucking do with me.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do with us. Now, if you decide to bring that into the equation, then I get to make a choice. Am I cool with this or not? You know what I mean? If you were telling me every other day about this dude's dick and that dude's dick and this sex and whatever, we'd have a conversation around that because where do I want to go with this? You understand what I'm saying? But I think there are a lot of people out there, especially people that are dating or trying to build a new relationship, that rely way too much and leverage and have way too much stock in the past and comparing and having literally their past relationships, their past sexual experiences, their past anything take over the current reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you start dating somebody and you'll say something. I mean, we had this when we were dating. You would say something that my ex would say. And naturally my mind would be like, well, yeah, here she is. She's the same. You're not. We all say a lot of things that are very, very similar. Like, that's just what it is, right? And so it's completely up to me to elevate my self-worth to where I don't really give a fuck what you've had in the past. I know how we fuck. I know where we are, and I trust you, believe you. And so when you tell me like what you tell me, I believe that. And that's just, in my opinion, that transcends sex. That boils down to real fucking connection and real relationship. If you were going to lie to me and tell me I was the best ever and I wasn't, then you're a fucking liar. Why would I want to be with a liar? Whether I'm good and bad or not, why would I want to be with a liar? And that goes vice versa, right? And that's up to every single person listening here to make a choice of, am I going to tell the truth with this person? Am I going to rewrite something? Because naturally, we have sex. How was that? Was that great? And you're like, oh my God, that was the best ever. Or you're not going to be like, yeah, that was fucking shit. The last dude I was with. But the real question, though, is why am I even asking that?
Yep.
The bigger question is, why am I asking you that? Because I'm insecure. Because I have insecurities. And so if that's a place that you're in, you're comparing guys or girls, men or women, to the past, or where am I, or how do I stack up, or how do I add up, that is 150% on you to handle your own bullshit, handle your own self-elevation, your own worth. And this is something that we have talked about this. Like, I've never asked, and what's interesting is I truly, genuinely don't care.
Yeah.
And this is a first for me in my life, and it's not because of you. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with where I am as an individual, where I am in my self-worth and my own value, that I truly don't care about any of that.
Yeah. I think the only time we've ever really talked about past sexual stuff is it's usually me initiating the question, and it's not from scarcity. It was like, I remember asking you, like, how do other chicks fuck? Like, I really want to know. And
Yeah.
it was like that curious little child brain of like, I just want to know, like, how do other chicks fuck? Because I don't fuck other chicks. I don't really know. Like, I'm not a dude. And it was really out of curiosity because I love sex and I was more fascinated by it. And I didn't really, the outcome of the answer was more just like, I was kind of excited to know if there's things I don't know, you know? And one thing to keep in mind is if you're present in having sex with someone now, the past is obviously not that good, or he would still be there.
Yeah.
So it's like
bring it
irrelevant. And the size of your dick is not what it's about. Like, you can do a lot with a little if you have to. So, you know, that whole inadequate thing, like, those are all stories.
Okay, now I'm feeling really inadequate, babe. Tell everybody about. Tell everybody
Show
about
the damn Speedo when you're gonna post the picture.
Yeah.
Babe, you're a big guy.
Okie dokie.
You're good. All is good.
All is good.
Great.
What else? Any
I
other
think
questions?
we went through.
I asked you a lot
so
of
many.
the ones from. You have any other good ones, pertinent ones that we need to address?
There's
good
one.
ones.
It's not fun. It's just one that I already know we've already said the answer to, but we should talk about it. He said, I still date my fiance and show up for her, but she's stopped having sex among other things. Well, you're not married yet, so consider maybe
not dating her
anymore. Because if you're going to go into a relationship and you're already not having sex, consider it a sexless marriage. And know that now going forward, and it's not going to be her fault because she's presented that before you were even married. What do you think, dear?
I don't know that I could say it any better than that. We could try and change people. I mean, this is just relationship stuff. This isn't even sex stuff. Like, a red flag is a red flag is a red fucking flag, period. If somebody's showing you red flags, you can try and manipulate it. You can try and change it. You can try and negotiate with yourself. But don't be surprised when that red flag ends up being a bigger red flag, or a fucking restraining order, or police reports. Like, I don't understand. This mentality to me just boggles my mind, is especially, you know, you hear about people dating. And a couple of years ago, I overheard this conversation with this group of people at the gym. And this one girl was saying, it's always the same. It's like within 6 months, you date a guy, and it's always like right at 6 months, they always do this, and it's always the same, and whatever. Like, I've dated 10 guys, and it always ends up this way. And I'm looking at him like, the only common denominator here is you. So where do you go at 6 months? Yeah. What are you doing at 6 months? What triggers in you? Where do you go into your scarcity brain kind of a deal? And it's just fascinating that, like, that seems to be the case with people, right? Like, we think somehow here's all these red flags, or they said something nice to me, so they must be the best person on earth, even though I like walked in the house and they're watching porn and I hate porn or whatever. That's just, that'll be something different. That'll change once we get married. That'll change once we start hooking up or whatever. And you're like, no, you dumb fuck, it's not. They're showing you right here, right now, their hand. Believe them.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I don't know if that answered her question or whatever.
No, I think it's good.
If you're not having sex, or sex is stopped, or there's major issues like that, that's probably something you should address prior to signing some nuptials.
Yeah. Hello. I mean, is that what you want with your life? Do you want a sexless marriage?
Right.
I mean, I don't think you do, or you wouldn't have chimed in on the question. But like, honor yourself. If that's not what you want, then you're not obligated to follow through.
We were very open when we were dating about our sexual chemistry. Not only did we prove it, but we were very, very, very open. Like, look, I have rules. Sex is never used as a weapon.
Yep.
There's never a no. There's never a, at all, ever. Like, you and I created very, very, very strict boundaries around that, and non-negotiables. Like, we were really clear about that, and I think that's super, super, super important.
Yep. Someone wants to know who pursued who first.
I think Saxony slid up in the DMs.
That's so. Tell the truth.
I think he slid up in the DMs.
We looked it up. He slid into mine.
I slid into the DMs.
Long before
I asked her out a number of times, and she turned me down.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
I don't know
Probably
why
for
either.
good reason, but I asked her out a number of times, and she said no, or just ghosted me, or
I said, I just think I changed
You're
Okay,
just
so it's
like-
all literally all.
She
in
literally has
text,
every
like,
single
it's-
message.
I
ever
went back on Instagram
of
because we
all
met
of
on
our
Instagram.
messages.
People always ask where we met. We met on Instagram.
Yep.
That's where we connected. And yeah,
I asked her out a bunch.
just-
She said no. So
Yeah.
I pursued her.
Bless your heart. I love you, and I'm
And
glad
then when
you did.
she made it, we dated for about 6 months, and then she needed to get some things together in her life and straighten out some issues that she had.
Oh my God.
And so we decided to take a break. Bless you. I mean, it's fine. We'll say that you broke up with me or whatever else. But and then God came in and said, "Dude, give her another shot, man."
Oh my God, you kill me. This kills me. I laugh
And
every
I
time.
did. You're welcome, babe. You're
I'm
welcome for the
grateful.
doves. You're welcome for a fucking second chance. You're fucking blessed, baby. You really are
I am blessed.
You
I have
are.
a very funny husband that makes me laugh so often and is sweet. And I love him. And I'm
Anybody else ever
grateful.
fucking shown you the doves? Nobody
No.
else has brought you to the fucking dove door.
No one
I brought you
else.
to the dove door.
No one else has
There you
done
go.
that.
You're welcome. Anything else we need to talk about?
Oh,
I think we covered a lot of things.
Huh?
Everything from doves to fucking facials to we found out some medical stuff that semen's actually good for your skin.
Yeah. We could put a link in, you know.
I don't think we're going to do any semen-based products, dear. I'll stick to selling T-shirts. You know what I'm saying? Loins, not sheep, not lions, not sheep. Somebody's going to go buy that domain right now. Loins, not sheep. Anything else, babe? Let's wrap
I just
this
wish
up.
you all a great sex life. If this can be a tool in having better sex in your life, use it.
Yeah, I like this conversation, too. It's good. We should have more of these. You know what would be really fun, too, is sitting down with other couples and talking about sex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, spring it on them. Be like, hey, come on our podcast. Be like, okay, let's talk about your dick. Tell us about your dick.
I have like this
They're
whole
like,
list
"What
that just
the
came into my mind of
fuck?"
all the people.
We would literally only have one couple ever on our podcast because no one else would come. They'd be like, no, sorry.
We'd have to like bank them all. We'd have to film them all before any of them aired, and then we'll drip them
Yeah, there you go.
through.
I like how your brain works. Guys,
Most of the time.
happy sexting. Happy
Yeah.
sex. Enjoy it. Do it. Lots.
Enjoy fucking sex. Just do it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. Appreciate your comments. These actually were all, this whole conversation came from your questions. So great
Yeah.
questions. Way to motivate us to talk about penises and vaginas
Yeah.
and sex.
Yeah. Till
All
next
right.
time.
See you guys. Ciao.
Bye-bye.